we are doing the cream products first in the highlighter categories. I think that this is going to be an easy one, if I'm honest with you. Highlighter is just not something I've been wearing a whole lot of recently, and I am very picky about what I am wearing when it comes to highlighter. So, that said, this is going to go because it's new, it's in a box. I don't really wear liquid highlighters all that often. And when I do, I have my favorite go-tos. So I am going to declutter this guy. I am going to keep this one. I do love this one. I could even move this into my primer category and be perfectly fine with that. This gives a really great luminosity to the skin. I wear it under foundations often. I do feel like it works well with foundations if I'm putting it over the top of a foundation as a highlighter. It's just a really pretty perfect liquid luminizer, really. So I will be keeping this one. This one is gonna go. This is number one. It's pink, so it's not really the tone that I need if I'm gonna wear it as just a highlighter, right? That's too deep for my skin tone. It's too deep for me to wear it underneath like a foundation. And also, if I'm gonna be wearing it as a highlighter, it really just kind of drives me bonkers because it is really thick and it's got glitter in it. And I don't love a liquid luminizer with glitter in it. So this one is going to be decluttered. This one is new. I haven't even tried it. It doesn't appear to have any glitter in it though. And I feel like it was made by CoverGirl to be much like that of a primer. So I am going to keep this one in my collection. I might, after trying it, move it to the primer category. This I'm going to keep. I mean, this will probably likely last me 400 years, but it's a beautiful, really blinding highlight that if I ever want to be like a see me from the moon kind of highlight, this would be the one I would pick because it truly is just really beautiful and it's kind of newer to my collection. The only thing I wish is that I had, picked this up in a mini. If they had a mini, I'm not even sure Rare Beauty has mini highlighters, but this is so big. It's such a big highlighter. This literally could be the only highlight you would need for 20 years. This one I think, gonna get rid of. I don't know though, because it's such a beautiful highlight and it just buffs out really beautifully. There's no glitter in it. It again is one of those liquid highlights that's gorgeous. It is from About Face. It is the Light Lock highlighting fluid in Fight or Flight, and I really do love it. I got this in BoxyCharm many moons ago. I don't even think they make their highlighters like this anymore. I'm not 100% sure, but this one I am going to keep. This one I use as a primer a lot, which is Crazy Sauce because it is so old in my collection. It's also really thick. Let me think about that for a second. Do I want that? Oh my god, it's so thick. But then when you buff it out, I mean, just look at how I'm not going to keep this. I'm not keeping this. It's too big. I have enough. And also, I mean, yes, it's pretty, but it's also too gold, I think. And it's old, honestly. That's been in my collection since 2019. That probably really does need to go. I've got this one, which is the Grande Cosmetics Grande Glow Plumping Liquid Highlighter. I think it's a beautiful highlighter. And then the Charlotte Tilbury Spotlight Beauty Light one. Beautiful also. This I got in gratis not that long ago. It is new, has never been used, but I will be holding on to those. All of these sticks I'm going to keep. These are technically, they're called eye balms technically. This is the Rose Glow and Get It Cooling and Brightening Eye Balm, and this is the Gold Glow and Get It Cooling and Brightening Eye Balm. They're Tula products, but these make really beautiful, subtle highlights. This one does look dried out, but I mean, it's truly beautiful. It does look really dried out though. It's because I'm missing the little topper to it, and I've used it quite a bit. I mean, it still works really well, so I am going to hold on to it. I don't foresee that lasting through another declutter, but I accidentally threw away this little piece. Can you guys see that? So it's dried out. This one is the gold one. I mean, it is really gold, but it is just, it's super pretty. They are super pretty, and I feel like work better as like cream highlights than they do as eye balms. I can't put these on my under eyes. This one is a matchstick by Fenty Beauty, and I really like the highlight that this gives as well. So I will be holding on to this. This is in the shade Starstruck. I mean, this is going to go. This is Galactic Skin Glow Moonlight Cream Highlight. I, have saved this from Declutter I don't know how many times, and I literally have used it maybe a handful of times. So that's going to go. The rest of these are staying. This is new from Westman Atelier. I do think that this is probably too deep, though. I mean, it's got a really bad, like it could be bad on my skin, right? Maybe I should not keep this, but I love it. It's so pretty. Maybe I keep it as like a blush topper or something. I just think it's super pretty. And I think if you buff it out, it actually doesn't look all that bad on my skin. I am going to hold on to this. I'm going to hold on to these. These are by Ritual Defy. This is their Rare Light Cream Luminizer in Moon Pillar. It's just such a really beautiful, like, holographic look. Lavender highlight. And then this one is Solaris Rare Light Cream Luminizer. Solaris is the name of it. And it's kind of got this like peachy golden, like almost red hue to it. It is super, super pretty. They are fine. They smell fine. I'm going to hold on to them. All three of these will stay. These are the ColourPop Super Shock highlighters. I have Flexitarian, which is iconic, right? I have Over the Moon, which kind of has a purple shiftiness to it. And then I have Spoon, which is just kind of like a champagne-y color. I love them so much. They work well as inner corners. They also work well as just really beautiful highlights. This is the RMS Beauty Living Luminizer. I actually didn't start using this until this last year, but this is just so pretty for a cream highlight that's just like, I mean, truly really just very natural on the skin. It's kind of got this like dewy effect to it rather than highlighty effect to it. I really do like it a lot. And then this Stila Heaven's Hue highlighter is probably too old to be still in my collection, but it is such a beautiful highlighter that again just has kind of that dewy effect to it. I do think that it's also got a like maybe a too dark base to it for my skin, but I love the way it is on my skin. I love the look of my cheeks when I have it on, so I will keep that as well. We only got rid of 4 liquid highlighters, but I think that's a good number, honestly, based on what I'm seeing in the container. Okay, here we are again in this place where it is absolutely absurd that we have this many highlights, specifically because we're not wearing highlight these days. Now, I do anticipate that that's going to circle back around, and at some point I'm going to be in a place where I'm going to want to wear highlight again, but today is not the day. With that said, I'm not going to go crazy decluttering, but I am going to declutter some that I just know I don't need, I'm likely not going to wear, don't suit me. Yeah, and then we'll go from there. This is going to be rough, my friends. So we do have 84 total highlighters, including creams and liquids and powders. And I do think that that's too many. But also, as I'm looking across here, I'm like, which ones am I going to get rid of? So there's that. I don't know. Let's start easy. I do think that I can get rid of this one. This is by Space Case. This is the Scene from Space highlighter, and I just don't use this. It's just really thick and kind of doesn't, I mean, it's See Me from the Moon, right? Yes, it's a really great highlighter, but I just don't use it. It's thick. I would pick up a Super Shock before I picked up this one any day. You guys can see it doesn't do any favors for like texture. You can see every single line on my hand where I swatched it. So I am going to declutter that one. I feel good. We got rid of one. I am also going to get rid of this. This is Sydney Grace, a loose highlighter in the shade Pink Lightning. And even though I think it is really pretty, it truly is a gorgeous like loose highlighter. Again, kind of a see me from the moon highlight. I just don't wear loose products. I just don't. I just am not going to pull for a loose item. Except for loose powders, I've pretty much gotten rid of every single loose powder product in my collection. So that one also needs to go. Easy peasy. I do think that I can get rid of Ray Rider. I literally wore the poop out of this at one point in time. It was a favorite of mine. But, you know, again, I just kind of feel like it is really thick and I am really going to pull for a different one other than this one. It's an older product in my collection as well. We remember when Kaleidos was coming out with these. They were all the rage. This is the one that I picked up because it was the most normal. But when I look across all of the formulas that I have in my collection, this is just going to get in the way of me using one that I truly love. So I am going to declutter that one. Oh my gosh, this is so much harder than I thought it was going to be. Can I get rid of this? I think that this one is too gold for me. I do like a white gold, but like, okay. So this one is a beautiful gold by Illamasqua. This one is also a beautiful gold by Revlon. I like the Illamasqua one better. This one is just, I mean, far too gold. We're going to declutter that and we will keep Illamasqua. That's actually the first one that is on my keep list, but that's because I'm looking across here and I just know that there's so many that I am going to keep. This one by ABH, this is Amrezy. This is so gold. Is it time? Is it time to get rid of Amrezy? I feel like it is the high-end version of the Skin Lights by Revlon. I think that this is a beautiful highlight, don't get me wrong, but I don't need 50 gold highlights, right? And I feel like these are the same. They even look the same. Yeah, they're the exact same, and I would rather keep Amrezy. So we did good there. This is Odin's Eye. I really love this highlight. I just feel like it's got a little bit of a shiftiness to it that I love, and it is in your face but also subtle. I love the glitteriness of it because it's really wet effect. It really reminds me of the Fenty Diamond Glow, and I have this one in Rosé Rave, and I mean, they're the same, but two different colors. One's blue leaning, one's pink. I'm going to keep them both. I do think I'm going to get rid of this guy here. This is Ofra Beverly Hills. I don't love the way it is when it is all pushed together. And I just don't love the highlight. So, and I have a bunch of Ofra, as you guys can see here. I think I have every single one of those colors for the most part in these. So I don't need that one. So that one will go. The rest of these I think will stay, except for maybe this. I think this one can go too. This is by Ciate London. This is Moon Dust. That one can go too. These ones I will keep. They're all Sydney Grace, and I have been using them so much lately because they were pulled into my Shop My Stash. And honestly, I've used these 6, but not those 2, which is why I was like, okay, we're going to get rid of those. So these 6 will stay. These 2 are new, so we're going to keep them. I have the ABH Glow Seeker Highlighter in Sun Idol. A really beautiful formulation. It reminds me a lot of the Natasha Denona High Gen Skincare Infused Glow Beautifier, but the ABH one is definitely powder, whereas this one is kind of a putty formula. Really probably should belong in my creams, but I love both of them. This one is shade 1, which is the light version. It's kind of got like a pinky reflect to it, whereas this one is definitely like a white gold. We'll keep both of those. I will keep both of these. These are the Rare Beauty highlighters. I do have Mesmerize and Exhilarate. One is pink and one is golden, and they are just truly beautiful, and See Me from the Moon. This one is fairly new to me. I haven't tried a whole lot of it. I think that it is pretty subtle, but also really beautiful, so I will hold on to it. It's Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Divine Glow Highlighter in Lunar Allure. This is Nabla Skin Glazing in Privilege. And I almost think that this should maybe go, because that color, I think that is just too deep for me. I think I'm going to get rid of that. That's very sad. I think it's just too deep. Okay. This is going to stay. This is the Orbe Moonlit highlighter from when they briefly came out with makeup, and this is a really beautiful subtle blush. It doesn't have like a lot of like in your face color to it, but it's very subtle, very luminizing, looks very natural on the skin, so I will hold on to this one. This is like literally one of my favorite highlighters. It is Iced Out by Jaclyn Hill, and this is what it looks like on. It's just so pretty, so I will be holding on to that as well, even though I think that it is just kind of big and maybe too big. I honestly don't know that I'm gonna get rid of a whole lot more of these. Oh man, I kind of think that this maybe also needs to go. This is Kevin Aquan Neo Highlighter in Sahara. It's a golden rose glow. I just don't use it. I also don't really just use this one. This is the Iridescent Glow in Ibiza. So I really think I need to get rid of them, but at the same time, like, they're just so pretty. They sit in my collection and they're in like little bags, right? Because they're like luxury, but I think if I keep them outside of the bag, and maybe if I have less to choose from, I might choose them. So I'm going to keep them. If I don't use them by the end of the year, then we will have to declutter them next year. But also, I'm on a no-buy, so I'm not planning to buy a lot this year. So I'm hoping that that means I'll get more use out of the things that I know that I love in my collection. This Give You Beauty highlighter, this is the Check My Glow highlighter in Platinum Cowgirl. I really quite love, so I will hold on to this as well. I think this has to go. I kept this from Declutter last year because I really thought that it was unique to my collection, which I still think it is, but I haven't used it. I haven't used it at all. So I think it needs to go. So I'm going to declutter that. At the end of the day, like, my declutters sit in my room unless somebody comes in here and decides that they want it. Like, they stay with me for a while. So I guess if I miss it, I can always pull it out. But I just don't think I'll miss it because I haven't used it at all in the last year. And if I want to use it, I think I could pull for something like this, which is Melt Illuminacion highlighter. This was with their collection that was with Muerte and Vida. You guys can see it looks unused. I've used it several times actually, but it's just so firmly pressed, and it is like truly beautiful. It's got a little bit of a like wet effect to it. It's a little bit more coral than like the Rose Rave one is by Fenty, the Diamond Bomb by Fenty, but I think it's got like the same like thought process behind it. This one is in True Love Never Dies. This is part of the Melt Nightmare Before Christmas collection. It's got a little bit more of a coppery feel to it, but I will be holding on to this as well. Natasha Denona Super Glow. This is one of my favorites, and I will be holding on to it. Smashbox Hood Witch Crystallized Highlighter. I think, like, when I think of this Laura Geller highlighter and this Smashbox highlighter, I think that is the reason why this one didn't see any use, because I was pulling for this one and they are very similar, honestly. So if I pull Laura Geller here and I pull Hood Witch here, you guys can see they are very much the same. And I would rather pull for the Hood Witch one than for the Laura Geller. So I'm gonna keep Hood Witch. Cookie is iconic, so it has to stay. Even though I hate this box, it has to stay. I can't see myself getting rid of that ever. The Tribe highlight by Juvia's Place. I do like this highlight. This is volume 3. I feel like it is very much like this one by Pretty Vulgar. I feel like I like the Pretty Vulgar one better. I think that it could also be just like Lunar Pop by Clinique. So I think these two are more alike than this one, but let's try all three of these together. So we've got Lunar Pop, and we've got Pretty Vulgar, and we've got Juvia's Place. Oh, I think Juvia's Place is way different. Okay, I'm going to keep Pretty Vulgar and Juvia's Place, and I'm going to declutter the Clinique one. I think that's what sounds right. So we're going to keep these two, get rid of Clinique. This one is staying. This is my Dior Nude Luminizer in shade 5. It's got like this like pinky feel to it, but more of a like a taupey pink. But it is just so beautiful on the skin, and it's more like luminous than it is like a highlighter. I think I'm going to get rid of this Kaja one because I don't wear it ever. It's starting to like break down in here, and I feel like it's just really fragile, and I don't 100% love it overall. Even though I don't love this one by Natasha Denona, I am going to keep it. It's not bad. I just feel like it's more powdery than her other highlighters are. This is the Pastel Plexi Glow highlighter, and I mean, it's really pretty, but it's really just a gold highlight. So nothing spectacular about it. I mean, when it first came out, everybody thought there was something spectacular about it, but there's really not. I'm also going to keep this one by Bobbi Brown. This is the highlighter in Pink Glow. This is one of my favorites, honestly, and it's just a mini. That's really all you need, to be honest. The Ciate one in Rainbow. Listen, I never use this, but I am keeping it because I just think it's pretty, and that is okay. I also never use this one, but I am keeping it because it is the Pixie Hello Kitty. I occasionally use it, but this is the Sweet Glow. It's just a really beautiful pinky highlight with Hello Kitty on it. And you all know how I feel about Hello Kitty, so I'm keeping that. MAC Double Gleam, I think, is iconic, so I'm keeping that. And this is like truly a beautiful gold highlight. Probably the only gold highlight that you need. All these from Becca. Let's see. I have Becca Prismatic Amethyst. I have Own Your Own Light. This was a special edition one. I have Pearl, which is white. Moonstone, Opal. One of the Light Chasers in Opal Flashes Jade. And I have Lilac Geode. Here's the true tea. Like, I got rid of Prosecco Pop a long time ago in the last one. And I got rid of a couple other ones. I used to have like 12 of the Becca highlights. These are the ones that I held on to because I really thought that I would use them. I really still think that overall they're the ones I want to keep. Opal kind of strikes me as maybe too deep for me, so I do think I could get rid of Opal. So that one will be decluttered. Ultimately, like, I know that these four here are not going to be ones that I use all the time. This one is Pearl, and this one is Moonstone. I do think that those are good shades for my skin tone, so I will keep those. I won't use these ones all the time, but I also think of them as like specialized, so I do think I want to keep them. We have Lilac Geode. It's pretty. It's got a little bit of a corally kick to it. This one is Opal Flashes jade. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a green to it, a little bit of a peachiness to it. Then we have prismatic amethyst, just purple, just really, really light. And then this one is Own Your Own Light, which is one that I could see like being too deep for me and maybe needing to go. But I think that that would be a beautiful like blush topper for like a corally blush. So I'm going to keep all four of those. I got rid of all the fun highlight palettes, so I do think that these are fine. Like, we're getting rid of one, which is more than I thought we would get rid of, honestly, from that collection. And we have Ofra. Let's look at the Ofra ones. So this one is Nikki Tutorial's Cloud 9 collab with Ofra. Pretty. This one is Retrograde, and it has the two different sides. I don't know what these two sides are, to be honest, and I don't try to mix them, but I think one is Star Island, and I'm not sure what the other one is, but those are super pretty. The one that I'm worried about is this one here, honestly. It looks very, very orange. Let's go. We've got Blissful, which I know I love. That is probably too dark for my skin these days. Blissful maybe should go. This one is Covent Garden. This one is Soho. And this one is Star Island. I do think I need to get rid of Blissful. I do think that this one, which is this guy here, is a little bit orangey, but I honestly think that Blissful is worse. And I'm wondering, it really can't be like buffed out a whole lot, which is very, very sad, because I did get rid of the MIDI palette that I had with Ofra Blissful in it, because I had Ofra Blissful in this way, but I just think it's maybe too dark for my skin these days. I also want to see if these are the same color, because I think that they are, and if they are, I'll just get rid of the single. I do think that they are. Those look very much the same. So we are going to get rid of Blissful and Star Island, and we're keeping only 4. That's crazy. That's crazy. Ofra was another one of those brands that I had literally every single one. If you go back through the years and look at some of my other declutters, like I had probably 10 Ofra blushes or highlights, and probably 10 of the Becca ones as well. All right, so here we are. This one, Bare Minerals Gen Nude Highlighting Blush in Opal Glow. I am keeping this. This is relatively new to me. And then all of these Fenty ones are also stained, but I will show you. I have Hustla Baby, which probably is just too much. But I think that this one blends out beautifully and doesn't really leave a cast. So this will give me like the same feels as like the Blissful, but it blends out beautifully. Then I have Sandcastle and Mint Mojito. Really beautiful kind of taupey rose and a fun blue. Then I have Girl Next Door and Chic Freak, pink and kind of coral. This one is a smidge bit too deep for my skin, but I love the other one. Then I have the Demi Glows, and I have Pretty Pearls, which is a beautiful like champagne color. And I have Too Much, which is a beautiful pinky color. So I will be holding on to all of those as well. So we started with 84 highlighters in total, including all of the creams and the liquid highlighters. And we are decluttering 17. I'm okay with decluttering 17 highlighters. I think that that gives me a nice number in my highlight collection. I feel really proud of that, because I mean, earlier this year, like not earlier this year, but last year in my highlight declutter, I ended up decluttering 18 highlights. So that's over 30 highlights out of my collection in the last 12 months. That said, that makes me just sick thinking about the amount of money that means. But at the same time, like, I now know that, a lot of the things that I decluttered this time around were things that I thought I was going to use last year when I did declutter and just didn't. Like this. These This one I'm only decluttering because it seems have a duplicate of it. Like these, no reason. No reason to keep these things. So really happy with that number, and you guys will have to let me know what your thoughts are.